Ever since the introduction of the fight between Frank Martin and John Davis Martin has been seen as the underdog in this fight, Jant, on the other hand, is always feuding and in drama. With someone recently, he was going against his former mentor Floyd Mayweather. And after Devin Haney, after he lost to Ryan Garcia, who Tank defeated last year. And somehow he doesn't seem concerned about Frank Martin. Boxing pros, on the other hand, seem to think otherwise, and issued a huge warning to Tank recently. An unusual opinion came from Milwaukee Bucks guard Damian Lillard. He turned his attention to the upcoming bout between Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin on his official X account. The 8-time All-Star cautioned the champion not to underestimate Martin, highlighting that this is a very competitive fight. Lillard, a lifelong boxing fan, has always been passionate about the sport. Growing up, watching major fights was a regular family activity. Even now, Lillard incorporates boxing into his off-season workouts to enhance his preparation for NBA games. As the Milwaukee Bucks star continues to support Martin, it's clear he sees the potential for an upset in the ring. Whether Davis will retain his championship or Martin will achieve a surprise, although the outcome is still up in the air. Lillard's warning highlights the threat Martin poses and sets the stage for an exciting showdown. However, he is not alone in this regard. Martin's trainer, Derek James, who has experience working with elite fighters, has expressed confidence in Martin's abilities and suggested that he has what it takes to compete with the best in the lightweight division. James also stresses the importance of time and development for Martin, implying that facing the most formidable opponents should come at the right time, even though Martin outside of Martin's camp. Well-known boxers like Claressa Shields and Errol Spence Jr. have commented on the impending fight. Shields, a former world champion, has expressed support for Martin and hopes he defeats Tank. Davis Martin is the opponent with the highest level of skill and talent, according to Spence Jr., who has commended Martin's abilities. Davis has to deal with Spence Jr. and Shields, both saying they are confident in Martin's talents. As the bout draws near, everyone will be watching Martin to try to overcome the odds and leave a lasting impression on the current WBA lightweight champion, Gervonta Davis. It's obvious that he shouldn't be taken lightly. Devin Haney recently discussed his feelings regarding Frank Martin and Tank Davis' impending bout, especially in light of Martin's most recent training video. Despite acknowledging the doubts surrounding Martin, Haney feels he will put up a strong battle against Davis. Although Haney believes Davis has the abilities and background to prevail, he also views Martin as a legitimate opponent who will work hard to gain respect. Frank Martin, the underdog going into the June 15 match against WBA lightweight champion Davis at the MGM Grand Garden venue in Las Vegas, has an amazing record of 18 wins, including 12 knockouts. Along with the backing of his trainer, Martin has gained recognition and admiration from the boxing community as a result of his intense training and his recent performance against Michelle Rivera. Leading boxing personalities such as Claressa Shields and Errol Spence Jr. have expressed interest in Martin. Shields hopes Martin can overcome Davis, while Spence Jr. commended Martin's abilities and cautioned Davis about the challenge ahead. Martin is the most talented fighter Davis has ever faced and has the potential to upset the current champion. Despite this support, some, like Haney, think Davis's experience and skill set will win out. Haney sees a difficult battle ahead, but in the end, Davis prevails, winning thanks to his demonstrated record and ability to handle pressure before the fight. Martin has discussed his thoughts on Davis, saying that while he doesn't think Davis is the most potent puncher he has faced, he is nonetheless motivated and confident, seeing this fight as a major chance to showcase his skills on a global platform. On the other hand, Davis is preparing diligently, promising a dominant performance. He is aware of the tension that has built up and is determined to prove his superiority in the ring. Davis is more confident as the fight date draws near because of his thrilling victory over Ryan Garcia and his background in high-stakes matches. Martin is keen to prove himself as a strong contender in the boxing world and is grateful for the opportunity to compete at this level. Both fighters are preparing for the much-awaited showdown, which looks to be an exciting and intense encounter. After being harmed by Tank Davis in the second round of last year's tournament, Ryan Garcia appeared to get afraid. According to Errol Spence Jr., the Tank Davis cannot afford to rest throughout the first few rounds in the hopes of winning by knockout. Spence thinks Frank Martin is the best fighter he has faced because of his speed, strength, and power. However, there are still questions because Martin's last fight against Artem Harun didn't show off his best performance if Martin had excelled against elite fighters like Shakur Stevenson. Spence believes Frank Martin will dominate Davis from the first to the 12th round and ultimately win the fight. Vasyl Lomachenko or Andy Cruz, more people would have faith in his abilities. Nevertheless, Spence is sure Martin will defeat Tank and show he's the best at 135 pounds. Davis even made a suggestion on a rematch following Martin's anticipated, for example, despite Martin's self-assurance and his prior experience sparring with Davis. Many still question his prospects. Victory is forcing Shakur Stevenson to wait for his time. Eddie Hearn said that Martin was a skilled fighter, but he thought Davis won easily. Although Hearn thinks the fight might not generate a large crowd, he still thinks it's a good fight. Ryan Garcia, who trains Martin alongside him, has publicly backed Tank and has not been moved by Martin's antics in the gym. Many were surprised by Davis' prediction of a 7th-round knockout over Martin, especially considering the two fighters' recent rivalry. However, Garcia's support for Davis could be interpreted as a calculated move, given the doping accusations against him and his uncertain boxing future. Since both fighters share a trainer and training facility, Frank Martin was first backed by Garcia, who confidently predicted Martin's victory. This sudden change in fortune aroused questions, as many felt Garcia should have stayed impartial to prevent conflict. Given that Garcia's career is in danger as a result of recent positive tests for banned drugs, there is concern that his support of Davis may be more than simply an opinion. Garcia's unclear ring future may have an impact on his support for Davis while he tanks. On June 15 at the MGM Grand Garden in Las Vegas, Davis, who is confident and prepared, has promised to put on a monster show against Martin. He's looking forward to a fierce match that will highlight his superiority. Ryan Garcia is in a difficult situation because his case has not yet been reviewed by the New York State Athletic Commission. Garcia might get the big fight and significant salary boost he needs from a rematch with Tank Davis, especially in light of his unexpected victory over Devin Haney, the WBC light welterweight champion. Even though he is the underdog, Frank Martin never gives up. Few people are giving him a chance against Tank, despite the fact that his last battle against Artem Harun demonstrated